All right. Hey, welcome back. We're getting back into our stride, doing them regularly. We got the weekly rundown with Snapper and Flux. I'm Snapper.
Flux.
Welcome back. What do you want to start with this time, brother?
Uh, First off, happy Sunday.
Yep.
Good week, busy week.
Yeah.
Um, Went through the out processing, had a hiccup, but we'll finish up on Monday morning. And then
So your DERP was accepted, but the final processing of the retirement or resignation slash separating
it's on,
admin is still happening.
yeah, only because I need one signature from OSS and people are TDY on Friday. So no big deal.
Cool.
Fine. There's a bunch of people I didn't get to talk to before the end of the week. So
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing this in kind of homage to the what happens to me on the road driving my Cybertruck.
oh,
This is
shit.
what I get while I'm driving my Cybertruck for no good reason. It's just
It's a good
a lot
reason.
of crazy people.
It's a good reason to them. I mean, if you're running off emotions 100% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird thing going on with Tesla right now with people actually executing domestic terrorism. Um, I mean, per the definition, like straight up.
It's 100%. And like when you share the information online and like create like energy behind it, it's so normalized right now on
Yep.
social media.
Yeah.
If you say even the people that are just being reasonable and saying, "Hey, like you do realize you're not affecting you're hurting someone's like personal purchase, so what? They shouldn't have bought a Nazi car." It's like, God damn, dude.
Yeah. It's wild. So it's kind
People
of a
like that
bummer.
make me want to fucking have that type of mentality. Like, oh, you're just going to be a minus that easily, then you don't need to exist. And then, like, that's how people get that way because it's so easy to feel that way to me. Oh, you're
Yeah.
just going to be a minus on everyone's life and just justify it emotionally. Well, then you're a minus on society. Maybe you don't need to exist that easily.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. That brings me to a good point, dude. On this show, on this podcast, I always want to try to cage it in a way that we can find traction, find methods, find something that you can do to bring positivity and energy
Yeah,
gain to your circle, your people around you. And so hopefully we can do that. And I agree with you, man. I'm kind of dumbfounded by people putting so much effort into being a detriment to the people around them.
I think it's just like they've never actually experienced what real hate is. People say they hate things, and it's like, dude, have you ever actually truly loved and know what it is to truly love something? Because if you don't and you haven't, then there's no way you understand what it means to hate. You don't know
Interesting.
the energy it takes to actually truly hate something if you've never like felt the emotional connection of loving something like that same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, how could
that's
you
very
actually,
interesting.
because you have to be emotionally attached to hate something. So if you haven't experienced a reason to truly hate, like then like you're just a yeah, it's just weird. This goes back to the same thing. It's like, dude, you're not even control your own emotions. You don't even
Yeah.
understand what it means to hate something. It's like, ugh.
A guy just a couple days ago, yeah, on Friday, I hear a honk. I'm like, I look over and he's like pulled up beside me and it honked the horn to make sure I looked over to see the finger. And then like, but he like hid his face so that I couldn't see his face. He wanted to be autonomous, but he wanted to make sure that I saw the middle finger. And it just made me smile. I'm like, I, I don't get it. But sadly, I have to make decisions now on am I going to take my kids and my wife with me in the Cybertruck to go do this errand? Are we going to a destination that I think is going to be a problem or
That's
not?
that's what people think is the purpose of what they're doing. You don't want to buy a Cybertruck because you don't want to get vandalized, because it becomes a nuisance.
It's not really the nuisance of it. I mean, if it was just me, bring it, whatever.
And like that's what I think they're trying to do by
Yeah.
consistently fucking the car,
But
wrecking.
I mean, they have effectively used domestic terrorism because it is intimidating me to make a decision not to utilize that
With your family.
former freedom with my family because I could be putting my kids in danger because of a crazy person. So, but I hear there's a movement now where people are like, there's a movement to bolster purchases of Tesla cars kind of in the counter to the crazy that's happening, the Molotov cocktails and the vandalism and the screaming and yelling.
Molotov cocktails and having the time to camp out at a car dealership to yell at people.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I wore this shirt because there's a lot of those flying around these days.
Bro, you know how many of those people would never think that you are the one in that car?
Yeah.
The fucking bird that would wreck their ass physically. Jesus Christ. They're so ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like there are a lot of assumptions being made with that type of person. Well, let's shift away from Tesla because hopefully there's still probably 51% of the viewership has left at this point because we're talking about it. Pete,
I mean, it's current events,
Yeah, that's current events.
You literally have a car,
Yeah.
You're like the totally not what people would think would have the car.
Yeah. Yeah. We got DOD now, specific deferred resignation program turned back on again. They're calling it something else. The WARI, the worry. Don't worry about it.
Seriously?
Workforce acceleration and let's see. Let me get my glasses on. The Workforce Acceleration and Recapitalization Initiative. Pete Hegseth just announced it on the airplane to Hawaii. He was flying out to Hawaii on the 28th. He said this. We are reopening DERP for DOD, not OPM, but DOD, a step down. They're trying to find more folks that are wanting to separate. So I think they'll get more because there's a lot of stories where folks are actually being followed through with. This was successful. People are going to get paid. Their paychecks are continuing to happen. It's successful. It's actually been
it's real,
proved to be real. Where a lot of the craziness online was, don't do it. You're never going to get paid. It's fake news. That kind of stuff has now been debunked.
They said this is what it was, and it's 100% exactly what they said. Anything outside of that is crazy. That's just a gossip. I'm a part of it because, it is trippy. But
I was saying that the whole time, guys. You're gonna get what they're saying you're gonna get. It's not fraud. It's not fake news. This is a program that is official and it's legit. So make your own decision based on your own personal scenario, and if it works for you, then do it.
Yeah, and it's like we've been talking about it every episode we've had because that's pretty much we started our first episode, I think, a week before, somewhere before I took it. And yeah, it's 100% exactly what it was. Most, the reason they came out with it definitely probably was didn't have someone like me in mind. There's a guy doing his job, but and I definitely have things to do, but it still worked out for me.
Yeah, there are going to be entities and units that are going to have less capability, but I think this brings up the next piece of this discussion on the Doge, where the Doge and this DRP, the DERP, and another round of it with this new program, the Worry, they are really cutting on right now stuff. They're cutting on stuff that's already been kind of set up and looking at fraud that's in the books right now and cutting stuff out that is not going to be permanent. This stuff is in the law to be there again next financing round. So interestingly, all this work that Doge has done, all this savings that's going to happen from the DRP and these programs is temporary. We need to get Congress on board, not just Doge. Doge is temporary. Congress is what can make it go into the future and last.
Elon, like everyone's complaining about things, and Elon, he's appointed to do this, but he has no ability to affect laws in Congress, like
Right.
any like legal manner. So it's cool what's being done quickly, but we have to like get everyone on board to approve moving forward with the process. And if that's just something as simple as every check that's written has to like have a purchase order or a definition.
Yeah, that's a new in place process, I think, that will last, that will do good things.
It should have never not been that.
Right.
I think like that was just like a given 100 years ago when checks came out, or 300 or whenever, and nobody thought that people would just start writing like checks with no accountability. And then someone started doing it, and someone got hired 50, like, this is just how we do things. We don't have to write a thing.
Yep.
We got money. We can print it. Who cares? So it's crazy that we're in a situation where that's the first thing he figured out. It wasn't even hard. It's just people aren't even like holding any accountability for any version of money.
Yep. It's like somebody goes in, even if they're idealistic, going into a new hire as a government worker, you get in there and then 3 months into it, you still have no authority. You're being trained up. You're still, learning the ropes. And then by the time you get where you're the one making the decisions, the ropes have kind of learned you into, this is just what we do. And it's really hard to break out of, and if it's written down, if it's codified, say this is how we do it, then you really don't have a leg to stand on to come in and wreck shop. And it takes something like this to change it. So, I mean, human nature and the way things are with just being a human being coming into a new job and not and learning it and not having authority and that type of stuff. I don't blame people as if this is a result of malicious intent by individuals. It is just a byproduct of the setup that they're in. And I'm thankful for the Doge and the stuff that's disrupting and trying to find ways to break through that resistance that is from how people are going to just show up and do a new job and not be able to change everything dramatically.
Because I was like running Flux Mechanics before I came here, and it was like, it's design, visual effects, like it's a creative company. And as a creative and running a business based on creativity and winning clients and stuff, it's 24/7 job. You're trying to win contracts, you're trying to do the work, trying to get paid, submitting proposals. So I was like used to working nonstop and like networking. And like after the first few weeks I was here and I didn't have anything to exactly do, I started being like, "Yo, well, what can I do?" And they're like, "Dude, you're going to have to get used to the fact that like, it's not your fault, but there's not always going to be something to do. And you have to be okay with that."
Yeah.
And so I just started like, I'm not going to just sit in an office under fluorescent lighting. Like, no. I started going around and meeting people and stuff. And that's why, like, when we came back from COVID, essentially I was like hands off from them because there was new change of command. And then eventually there was like nobody attached to an OG exec that was supposed to be my innovation chief at the OG level. And everyone was just like, this dude's just doing whatever. He's got a good reputation, So, but yeah, I mean, and then like when the one guy got here, the senior sergeant major, and was like, "Oh, it's not just PD, blah, blah, blah about you." I'm just like, Jesus, dude, you guys just like people to sit around and do nothing. It's like, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
Like maybe a lot of people are okay with that. And that's what I've always heard about GSs from officers. It's like, that's never going to be me. Like, dude, if I'm
Yeah.
going to be here, I need to be moving and learning and getting things done. Otherwise, I mean, that's the reason, one of the reasons I'm leaving. I was leaving.
Yeah.
So, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't need to exist. Mine doesn't need to exist, not in a capacity that is full time. I told the OG they don't need to replace me.
Yeah. It's like a as needed type of
Yeah.
thing. And those projects, I mean, the amount of work you did and those projects that are existing now they're going to be there for the long haul. They're established. That's good stuff.
And it's like the T-38's not changing anything.
Yep.
Like I've already made the FB and then one of the things I had focused on was getting each squadron all their videos and accessible across AATC. And until the T7 gets here, there's no reason to hire someone like me.
Yeah. Well,
And
I want to kind of step down the road on this with you're referring to the deferred resignation program. You took it, your position's going away. The way you see it, it's not really going to be a long-term impact. The established product is there that you were able to manage. You bring to light that government work doesn't always need to be there 8 hours a day, full-time every day to get the value added for the customer back. But it's kind of cumbersomely set up sometimes where that's the only method to get you paid. And maybe there are situations where, that position goes away and it could be filled on a part-time basis with maybe a contract that might be a more appropriate thing for the things that you were tasked to do, especially once most of the work is complete. But there's going to be arguments where people are saying, well, this disruption from Doge or the deferred resignation program is going to cause a lot of trouble. It's going to make problems. I think there will be some pain, but it's worth a word to acknowledge that the transparency of this is pretty big. If you go just a quick search, look at the government websites for DOD, for Doge, look at the Doge website, it puts the receipts up. I mean, it is showing what has been done, where they're looking, what they're doing. If you look at the DOD website and you want to know exactly where the Secretary of Defense is, Pete Hegseth, he basically gives you a timeline of where he is every moment of every day, what his plans are, where he's going, what he's talking about, what are his policies, anything that's new that's being released. The transparency that's going on right now, at least from what I've been looking at, is there. You can track what's going on. You can see it. Nobody's holding anything back here. So
you know what? That when you said that about being transparent, and you're starting at a high level and making changes in leadership and all that, it almost makes me like if you were to relook at the 5 bullets. Well, if you have somebody up here who's demonstrating ultimate transparency, like ownership of your time, and then you're getting people to own their own time and get in the practice of being transparent and being prepared, and then maybe you you know what I mean? If you get a whole groups and organizations to be more comfortable with being transparent, getting the in the habit and practice to normalizing being transparent. And it's crazy that we're that far away from being transparent as government entities.
yeah,
I think that's a good thing to do. I know that's not the purpose of it, but if you look at it from a different perspective, it definitely gets people, and nobody likes change.
true. Yeah. Everybody's going to flail and fight against and argue against it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might be a good step in the right way to get.
Yeah. And if you don't want to be transparent, then, what are you doing?
What are you hiding? Yeah.
You work for the government and you work around other human beings with security clearances and nobody has a problem. And then someone in the office does. It's dude, here's DRP.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think of, okay, I've been talking about Pete Hegseth and how he's transparent. He's got a great website. He's very out there with all of his stuff, and maybe a little bit too far out there with some of his stuff because he sends on Signal, a group text that he did not organize. One of his other folks put the group together for the group text, and there were references to strikes that were going to happen in a couple hours, and now the media is calling it just this end of the frickin' world classified leak thing, texting war plans. And I was researching this before we started recording here, and 3 days ago, Hegseth's response was nobody's texting war plans. He said that multiple times in a direct question interview while he was on the ramp.
They even know what war plans look like.
Yeah, you nailed it.
What do they think it is? Like a freaking like a risk board game table, and you got like plans. Like they just
no, they're the wording that they're using, words matter. And when you say you're texting war plans when you don't even know what a war plan looks like, you've diminished your value. You've diminished your credibility in reporting on it, because nope, that was not a war plan.
All these war plans. I haven't actually heard war plans before.
Yeah. Well, there are things that would be considered war plans, and it's a comprehensive, like
at least the war plans are like, oh, is it official the war plans? Like no one dude has all the info anyway.
Yeah. A war plan for me, if I were going to define it, would I don't have a specific sentence or two that's going to define it, because it's probably a paragraph worth to define what a war plan is. When I was in Korea as an A-10 pilot, I was plans and programs as my office that I worked for within the squadron. And we reviewed and implemented the war plans for how our forces would respond if kickoff happened. Night 1, night 2, night 3, we had contingency plans in place. If then, this is what we do. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into a war plan as defined as a war plan.
The amount of stuff that goes into being 1 4-ship or 2-ship as one squadron, a part of an Air Force, a part of that war plan with intention, is crazy enough as it is for the normal person. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get into that much because it was like on Signal, on social media. I was just like, dude, it just seems ridiculous. If the war plan's released where we're going to go fuck these people up, like, well, no shit. That's what we generally want to do.
Yeah, so, it was basically, it was like, hey, this morning we're going to send some airplanes out. They're going to use some missiles against some stuff. And we're going to do, these guys are going to make the way for these next guys to come in, and it's going to be in this order. So it was a little bit more detailed than you'd like to see in public. It was a fuck up. They shouldn't have done it.
We're going after like SAMs and using seed.
Yeah. Does not rise to the level of, and it was talking about something that's going to happen in 2 hours. The momentum's in place. The action is happening. You know, they're en route. It was successful. It was not a detriment. We need to move on, move forward, and not dismantle the entire force for, or try to chop the head off here.
And it's like, dude, you got people, and their whole goal is canceling people for some reason. That's what news has turned into on televised news, which is like not even the best news anymore.
Yeah, it's too bad. It is very frustrating for a guy like me to turn on the news and watch the news, especially like the 6 o'clock evening news on the main networks. It's like, how is this actually being, how is this still what you guys do? It is
they fucking trying to tear
down to so much. It's like, they're so condescending and so clearly agenda driven that it's just frustrating. Come on, we can do better as Americans. Let's find some content on the big networks in the evening news channels that is bringing us together. Same team, all Americans. Let's do that. I don't know.
They're addicted to like clicks, but what they don't realize is what they're being addicted to clicks for is always negativity, because negativity is always what gets the most, the
That's the
view.
human
How it always,
response that gets you
why we
riled
don't
up,
have movies,
make
it's
you
always
engage.
like bubblegum cupcake shit, you know, because it's like nobody wants this. Why we're like that, I don't know, because you just see other people going through diversity and like you got to go through it too. And you're like, cool, sitting on the couch, let's watch somebody else get effed up.
Yeah.
Something, but yeah, it's a weird bad habit that's people's jobs somehow do better when
Yeah.
they work on, and it's like wrecking people's situations. And it's like, dude, maybe the dude did release some shit.
Yeah.
It's on signal. Now that you're fucking telling everyone on planet Earth, you're definitely not helping.
Yeah. There are policies in place for things that are controlled, unclassified information. If you get a hold of it on your communication devices, it is your responsibility to not make it public or to continue to disseminate it.
The
So,
next person, yeah, dude, I just did my stuff a couple weeks, like 2 months ago, or like December. So
yeah. And if it is classified, then the dude who was the journalist that then released it is probably ripe for a uh, some consequences. If he's like, oh, I'm going to leak this out from the Signal chat, which is a closed group, the guy that pushes that out could be responsible for some consequences. I don't know. There's no way to get like real clean truth data on this because there's going to be agenda on either side. I say let's press forward. We're doing good things.
Happened success. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Let the journalist free. Let him go. Leave Hegseth alone on it. Move along. Let's focus on the things that are making the world a better place. Let's do that.
Yeah. Could you imagine you everything you wanted to do in life and then you did it and then you don't even realize that all you are is like a journalist that complains and tries to tear people down that like have spent their whole life trying to do what they're doing in life, and like that's what you grew up to be. Interesting. Just that. Like,
I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about my life's work being writing articles that crush other people's lives. It never occurred to me.
That's what somebody grows up and wants to be, dude. That's some of the lamest.
Hey, dude, that's your thing. I'm not knocking it. If you want to be a journalist, you could be out there trying to save the world by, in your opinion, uprooting the corruption and making everything visible. So their internal intent, altruistic and good.
Doing that is on YouTube, or like, when Vice first started out, that's what they were doing,
Yeah.
But you're not doing that working for like a televised news station.
Yeah. They might have got roped in. We just talked about government workers getting into this thing. Human nature. You get in there and you're like, man, well, this is a little distorted from my initial altruistic and idealistic intentions on being a journalist. But it's paying the bills. I'm stuck now. What am I going to do? Say no? I'm going to get fired and blackballed. I mean, if you put 6 years of your life into school and skills, and you're screwed. You're stuck. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are that way. I know there are. I know of friends of mine.
Start making money.
Yeah. Once you're in there, and it's a big leap to say, I'm going to quit this. You've got to have something else in place. Maybe you marry into money and you're like, I can now separate and get away from this distortion. I've seen that happen 2 times specifically.
I'm 100% doing it, bro. I intentionally got rid of everything I own because I was seeing that I was getting comfortable with the money, and I, for myself, seen it as like I was entrapping myself because I was bored and just buying things I like definitely don't need, and and then being attached to things that don't matter, and it was like a byproduct of not being happy where I am right now. And so that's why I got rid of everything. Because I did it all and put myself in an uncomfortable situation and uncertainty just so I could refocus and get like hungry again.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a tough leap.
It's only something I would recommend if you're single with no kids, though. Like,
Like, yeah, I can't just
can't
peace
just,
out. I can't just roll out to Costa Rica and
yeah,
spend a couple of years finding myself.
yeah. So,
I
but
mean, I could, and if I did, my kids would miss me for a couple of years. My wife would be very upset. It would be a bummer for a lot of people. So,
well, yeah. I mean, not to go off that, but knowing maybe we could go into the what we talked about before the um
oh, yeah, there's opportunities to go change your whole outlook, your whole scene, your whole world. There have been, I'll just say generally, I'm not going to use any entity names or any whatever. I will say that the aviation world has recently kind of expanded the availability of pilots for hire, mercenaries, if you will, may be a bad term, but there are places in the world that are acquiring third, fourth generation fighters that need pilots to train and execute missions across the globe in different locations. And more questions are being asked to different types of pilots lately than I've ever heard before about filling positions
yeah.
as mercenaries. So it's an interesting thing going on.
I think it's okay to mention Draken. Obviously, they're globally known as a private like Air Force that can be hired and it's utilized in training scenarios. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
And
That's very, very alive and well. I work for Blue Air Training, which is a similar contract for U.S. Air Force to complete training requirements for JTACs.
and so and it's okay that I bring it up that I've had, I won't say who, but I've had conversations and that the need is there for other allies with America's air forces and like ground ops to get more proficient on a global, like universal level between our countries with CAS and CSAR, with using virtual reality, with, airplanes, helicopters, and ground forces working together. And that's something that I've had conversations about. And yeah, I mean, it's like, and that should be something that we should see more often because with the hog going away, it's like someone like you, if something happened down, like, that there's knowledge that someone may seek you out for at some point because if CAS isn't like being taught anymore because there's no hog in the same way, then it's like you're like one of the last generation of people that have that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there seem to be a number of conversations going on that I'm hearing that I have not heard in years past. So yeah, they are asking for close air support professionals. They are asking for current qualified pilots that are able to instruct or maybe participate in fighter type aircraft operations. So really interesting. And that would be something that the details of that are really unknown to a lot of folks. Like if I were to go participate in something like that, the questions that I would be asking are, what's the location? What are the teams that are playing? What team am I playing for? There's
in a country that you would like not even be like cared about if something went the wrong way by America. Like right
yeah,
there's so many things. Of course, like not a lot of people know about it because not a lot of people know aviation. And then less of those people know fighter pilot community and the world space.
yeah,
And then like really nobody knows what a mercenary or someone's hired for knowledge for another country's military, which
yeah,
I wouldn't even think to say that's what I've been hit up for. But, Peruvian Air Force, Colombian Air Force, interested in talking to me and has talked to me about just bringing them up to the VR 360 training space, and there are allies. So it's no problem.
yeah,
They're not allies, but dude, I mean, they're right there and they are our friends. So
yeah.
there's a lot of need for people in your position or people that are in that space, especially that are in the training space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. There's availability for folks that are going to be instructing. There's availability for folks that would operate, and so it's pretty wild. This era is pretty wild. The amount of visuals you see right now on social media about airplanes, attacks, seeing things get blown up, watching people die on video that's publicly available versus when I grew up and started my career in the A-10. I mean, there was nothing out there. And now the whole world is wide open. You can consume whichever type of video you want to online to whatever level you want. And it's
Wild,
crazy.
man. It's like, I mean, like the seriously like cowboy ops. You got privatized space dudes rescuing NASA's mistakes. You got dudes like on camera, live stream, chasing people down with drones with like IDs on them, and you could see the dudes that are like, oh fuck, and
Yeah.
it's just dude, shit is pretty wild when you really like, if you really like, take a certain perspective. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. The times are wild, weird
So like,
times.
dudes are unboxing just unboxing like DJI drones and like can put together the munitions and the like adapt whatever they got to adapt or add onto it,
Yep.
and like boom boom boom, here we go, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna go fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing the dudes on YouTube live streams, Russian soldiers, and they're like, and the drones just, you're just watching them, and then it just like hits them. It's like, dude, that is crazy.
Yeah. And it opened my eyes a little bit to vulnerability that you can't defend against. And that's global. I mean, you could have a remote drone.
It's the beginning of how we go and live underground.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Pretty crazy.
Underground completely. Jeez, it's a
And
trip.
if there is something that's a more resilient power source, if we make breakthroughs in battery technology or something like that, you get some range and some energy capability of something that's long term. Then the miniaturization of those type of powerful weapons even goes to another order of magnitude, which is even scarier.
Who's to say we don't have that? Because
I mean,
Tesla already figured it out. Wireless power.
Yeah, there was
Versions, and then like that was like the whole point, and of like
Nikola Tesla. You're talking about back in the day, the original Nikola Tesla, not the Tesla company right now.
yeah, he had wireless. He invented radio, like wireless power. He had it, and then like that's why his stuff all got wrecked, and then it was all gone.
Yeah. I wonder
So
what the truth data on that is, because the way I understood it, the limitations of physics and the equipment of the day kept the at distance, at range energy transfer really to a minimum, made it impractical, where wires became the solution that kept an efficiency of energy transmission viable.
yeah, but that was also, he was only lighting like light bulbs.
Yeah. So I wonder if the technology is adjusted or changed that we can do energy transfer wirelessly at range efficiently and effectively. That's a question.
Well, he definitely didn't get to continue doing it.
No, he didn't.
He specifically said all the things that I was working on, because he couldn't, he like was like a savant. Everything was coming to his mind so fast. If he didn't write it down, it would be gone forever. And it was like super critical thoughts and like the whole entire process to make it happen. And so when his entire place in Colorado Springs got burnt down, he's like, dude, the things that I like had going on there, they're just gone. I can't even remember them. It's not the way his mind works,
Yeah.
Super OCD.
Yeah.
Read many books about him. He knew something. He was like just operating on a different level.
Yeah. Kind of weird where it's similar with Elon Musk. He's kind of a non typical
Yeah. He's a similar type. He's on a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably why he chose Tesla.
Yeah.
People will like talk crap about him, like, oh, well, he's on. It's like, dude, there's a reason why it takes him a while to answer a question. He's not thinking like in a linear version of
No,
the.
he's thinking of like six different aspects, like down the road, depending
Yeah.
on what he says, what's going to be the effect of six different aspects of things from 2 months from now after the,
Or 100 years from now. It's
yeah,
like, I'm
whatever.
trying to
Yeah.
tell people, have you ever seen Endgame and you see Doctor Strange when he gives the is it the time stone? He just gives it to Thanos, and they're like, there's only one version of us winning in like over a billion different realities, and he just went through all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's what it seems like when Elon thinks before he speaks on a question. He's going through it.
And that is the approach to things that is offering the benefit of the doubt. And I like that. But there's the alternative approach to that perspective is that that's just not the case. He's just struggling to come up with a clear,
Right.
concise, legitimate answer. Somewhere in between, who knows what the reality is. But I mean, your solution or your approach to it is just as likely as not.
Yeah, I mean, well, he is autistic, and a lot of people that are autistic are hyper functioning, and
Yeah.
they literally, some people are so smart they really can't like connect with the way that they're just too, they can't connect with the way that the human body functions as far as communication. It's
Yeah.
just to their intelligence. So who knows? Could just be thinking before he speaks.
Yeah.
Like
I
you never,
think with Elon Musk, I think some of the evidence of why I think he's a good person is just the results of the companies that he's led, been a part of. He's clearly smart. He's clearly got savvy public relations type of stuff going on. This stuff lately is crazy. But he was untouchable for a long time, for many years, and always thought of as the pinnacle of businessman and innovator. And now it's something that's distorted.
untouchable, bro.
What's that?
What does touching, if you and I were to say you and I are untouchable, that's different because we're very touchable. Like you could definitely screw our careers up
Oh yeah,
really easy if someone wanted to. But like, I mean, what is untouchable to him? He doesn't even, we don't even have, nobody has to exist to him. So like,
yeah,
he's opening himself up to people knowing he's going to get hate and he's still doing it.
yeah,
It's the same with Donald Trump. Like all these career politicians, they've existed in that way the whole life. These dudes took on the fact that they're still doing what they do and they know they're going to get wrecked. And they know that they're like Elon specifically. I mean, did you ever see when he talked about how when he said he wanted to take space travel privately and like Buzz Aldrin
oh yeah.
and like,
Went
dude,
nuts on him. Said, "No, you're crazy."
that was like his hero. It was like one of the people who inspired him.
Yeah,
So like
that was crushing. Yeah,
the dude is legit. He knows that like he knows that he wants to do certain things for humanity. Because people like broke ass people always do the same thing with billionaires. Oh, well, you could be helping the starving people here. Like, dude, you can't fix a problem by throwing money at it
yeah.
and get people that don't know how to spend money in their own bank account.
Handouts is not going to be a solution.
Never fixes it. Like, oh, there's starving people in Africa. Let's send more food. Well, how about this? Stop sending people food and they can figure out how to live, or they just don't. But like, dude, if you're not a fucking part of like figuring your own like how to satiate your society,
Yeah,
then you die. No
I've
big, like
I
I'm
am
just
seeing.
like he's trying to like people don't realize they're so small minded that they like don't realize that he's just at the very basic level. It's for a second chance.
Yeah, he's got a long view on a very big picture, and that's
Yeah.
different than most people.
Yeah.
He's looking at the biggest picture possible, which is the survival of humanity.
Yeah.
And uh, there's a lot of folks that really throw a lot of hate at Elon that don't really have any investment in getting his perspective from his own voice. I've heard a number of people I've seen in interviews respond to the question, have you listened to Elon speak? And they're like, no, I can't stand listening to him. It makes me crazy to listen to him talk. It drives me crazy. I'm like, so you really don't know what his stated intent is because you can't watch him talk. So you really don't know where he's coming from. You're just taking all of your data from some other source and putting it on him as if it is the intent. Like you now know his personal intentions, but you've never listened to him talk.
What does that say about a person that has, like, they can't even take the time to listen to a dude that's investing his life into saving humanity?
Yeah.
You don't like the way he sounds?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, dude, do you know how many people sound like crybabies everywhere I go and I still like practice compassion and listen to them? Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating to hear people with a adamant stance against someone who will not give them the time to hear their stated intent from their own mouth. That's tough.
You can't listen to the dudes whose like main focus of building his whole life is to give humanity a second. All right, man. Well, you're not worth talking to in the first place, and your opinion doesn't actually matter to the guy that's making it happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think never mind. There's a reason why like certain societies and government systems, like I can be attracted to a little bit. Yeah. Freedom of thought and freedom of voice for quite a lot of people. Yeah. Not worth listening to, man.
So, hey, last time we talked about this before we went on. We talked about last video. We were talking about, hey, I'm feeling like I'm lucky to be an American, all this stuff. And you had a comment that you reviewed, you watched later, and you're like, oh, that came across weird.
Oh, well, we were talking about what was it? Said something about you said that, it's really awesome. When I look up in the morning, I look in the sky, I see, fighter jets flying around airplanes, and it's awesome to know that, they're ours. And
Yep,
specifically,
they're friendly. Yeah, I'm not threatened by this.
Sixes, and it's a pretty awesome thing to be American, and I'm lucky to be American. And I said like not lucky.
That's right. That's what it was.
That he said, well, yeah, but we have different opinions and like this and that. And I like said to you after, I think like you thought that I meant something else because I say like I'm a child of the earth, like I'm not completely like. I'm here to meet everyone and like be a part of everything. And what I meant was when I said we're not lucky, it's because America isn't lucky at all. Like it's totally was born in rebellious individuals that didn't like, they felt that they were experiencing.
It's not through a stroke of luck that we exist and this is going on, but it's through the toil of heroes and people who put their ass on the line to make it happen.
Yeah, we are what we are because we're a rebellious people at nature, and that's how we started. We have the best rocket scientists when NASA started because why? Where did we get them? Like, how did that work out? What is this? Werner von Braun?
Yeah.
How did we get that dude? Like, dude, everything is systematically been done for us to be where we are.
Yeah.
And obviously, it doesn't take that much of our society to be on the side that you and I are on and believe the way you and I do to keep our society still the way it is.
Yeah.
So everyone can do whatever they want for the most part, and they can think or feel whatever they want, but we're definitely not lucky. But it also doesn't take as many. It used to be the only Americans that they were like in one mind of one accord and under God, the freedom that's been created from like that leadership and carrying forward has made it so that, and also like population grows and the idea of like people coming here and immigration and, seeking the American dream. Maybe it's convoluted now and been propagandized what the American dream is, but it's a great idea. People of all races, creeds, and cultures to come together. It's crazy. It's only a few hundred years old.
Yeah. And there are plenty of people like me who will do their very best. I'll do my damnedest till the day I die to try to support the ideals that I grew up with. It's an idea that we can provide the best value to our country and humanity through the principles of freedom, independence, all the things that the founders built the Constitution on. Those things are important to me. And I think there's enough strong people like myself that can perpetuate that through this tough time where there's a lot of strife and a lot of discord.
I wonder if like the issue is people that feel the same way as you and I do, put the gap, because it used to just be only people that felt this way,
Yeah.
Like ideologies, and then you have different parties. It's not like the few hundred dudes that started the country, rebellious as hell, went over, like came across the ocean, fought in. It's not those people. Now people have a relaxed life. They're not having to like till the they don't have to figure out.
There has been a aggressive, militant, even violent strife between Republican and Democrat. And they may have been different names back in a couple hundred years ago, but there's always been really rough. I mean, to the point where people are doing duels and shooting each other and stuff.
Well, at least we were doing duels and shooting each other. And that was okay, because it still brought the fact there was some seriousness if you had a problem with someone, and there was honor, and it was important that you handled it like gentlemen. And if you were going to go slap that dude in the face with your white glove, you knew the consequences.
Yeah.
You weren't at that level. Like everything was more serious. The wild, wild west. We have prank culture where people have entire YouTube channels of going up to grown adults and punking them. And when that adult, it turns around and is ready to F them up. Oh, you're on YouTube prank. Like, dude.
Yeah.
A grown adult walking up to a human male at a bar in the wild, wild west to prank that dude. That dude would turn around and shoot you dead and nobody would do anything.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. People are like, well, that's pretty crazy. It's like, yeah, well, people didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're a grown man. Don't walk up to someone.
The norms of society are so lax and so non-consequential for craziness that it has distorted a lot of things. Yeah.
Dude, I agree. People think that certain countries like have harsh punishments. If you steal, you get your right hand chopped off and you only have your left hand. Well, in those societies where that happens, you can't eat with your left hand because that's the hand you wipe your backside with. You can't greet with someone anymore. You can't like sit at a dinner table. You're shamed outside of it. People think that's crazy. It's like, no.
Nobody steals.
If you would have that happen. Remember that dude? What was his name? Michael. What was his name? Michael. It was like in Singapore. Was it mid 90s? He got flogged. There was a big thing because he was graffitiing cars.
Oh, American guy goes to a different country, breaks their laws big time. The punishment is huge. There's big political backlash, and he has to take that country's punishment. Yeah, I do remember that.
Well, it's happening right now in South Korea. There's this dude's like this dude. He went to South Korea. He's American. He has an American passport, and it's just crazy what this dude's doing. He's running around in his underwear, drunk as hell at night, which is a crime. Making out with a person like French kissing in South Korea is a crime because it's like considered sexual. Can't have sexual acts in public. The dude's calling cops like the N-word. He's dark skinned, but he's like Israeli or Somalian mixed with Israeli or something like that. Johnny's Somali. It's crazy, dude.
Huh.
It's crazy. Like that people are out of their minds when they go to other countries sometimes when they're Americans, and it's prank culture. And it's like the dude thinks that like he could call Trump to extradite him. No, dude. He's
Yeah,
gonna like
you got to pay some consequences, man. You play the game, the country you go join, or you're living in.
it's like, dude, how does prank culture happen when you're an adult?
I don't know. Hey, man, we're pushing up against probably 45 minutes, aren't we?
That was just like another topic I've been following is just prank culture, modern day, in our lives right now. I've been following it. But yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna come to work tomorrow. Are you gonna be there?
Yes. Yep. I'm running the ops desk in the morning, so I'll be there, and then trying to do some more innovation. I'm trying to dive back into video editing and getting some more P missions done. So that's going to be on the schedule. Yeah.
Oh, another thing, didn't we have our power outage exercise?
Oh yeah. That made me so disappointed because we heard after I put all that stuff together, they made the exercise nothing. They didn't turn the power off at all, and so
I didn't.
okay.
I got the email last weekend and I was like, oh dude, the thing that Sniper prepared for this. And then I just remembered that like it happened, but I didn't ask you.
They turned it off. They decided it was going to be too much impact.
How are you supposed to? All right, well,
Yeah.
at least this ran off.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
So hey, good chatting with you. We'll do it again next week. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great, awesome week. Cheers. See ya.